Settle in where you are. If you want to, you can let your hands rest and let your shoulders soften a little. If there is steady rain in the background, it can stay steady and simple and the same. You do not need to do anything with it. You can lower the volume until the sound feels gentle. Nothing surprising will happen and nothing dramatic will happen. The pacing will stay slow and steady, and the subject will stay ordinary. Tonight we will be spending time with a toothbrush. Just a toothbrush, the kind that is held in one hand. We will stay close to it in a calm way, and we will keep returning to the same simple details. We will not rush. We will not change topics suddenly. We will stay with one small household object and let it be as plain as it is. You do not need to remember anything. You do not need to follow a complicated idea. We will keep returning to the same simple object. A toothbrush near the sink. A toothbrush in the hand. A toothbrush placed back into its spot. And the steady rain can stay in the background, doing nothing more than being steady. A toothbrush is a handheld consumer cleaning tool used to remove plaque and food residue from teeth and along the gum line through repeated gentle brushing motions. That is the whole purpose. A small tool, made for small repeated strokes. It is used for a short time, then it is rinsed under water, then it is set down to dry. It returns to its place. It waits, it dries, it is lifted again. The same small motion, repeated calmly. Now we can move on. Chapter 1: The toothbrush as a household object. A toothbrush is small and personal. It is one of those objects that usually belongs to one person. Even in a home where several toothbrushes live close together, each toothbrush is meant to be separate. It may stand in the same cup as another, or it may sit in the same holder. But it still belongs to one person, and it is used by one person. A toothbrush stays near water. In most homes it is kept in the bathroom sink area. It is kept where water can be turned on briefly, and where rinsing is easy. It is often within arm's reach of the sink. It lives close to other daily care items. It does not wander far from that zone, unless it is packed for travel. A toothbrush is handled briefly and often. It is picked up, used, and set down again. It is not held for long periods. It is a tool for short moments that repeat. Morning, or night, or both, this may vary. But the feeling is similar. A short routine that happens again and again. A toothbrush is stored, then retrieved. It sits in a holder, or a cup, or a drawer, or a cabinet shelf, this may vary. It can also be in a travel bag when someone is away from home. Wherever it is kept, the pattern is steady. It rests, then it is lifted, then it rests again. In many homes there is more than one toothbrush. Several handles may stand close together. Several heads may face upward in the same area. Sometimes they are spaced apart well. Sometimes they rest too close and bristles touch, then separate later. This is not always the same. Shared spaces can be neat or crowded, and the toothbrush simply fits into the space it is given. A toothbrush is chosen, and then it is mostly forgotten until replacement. The decision at the shop is usually small and practical. After that, the toothbrush becomes part of the background. It quietly marks the start and the end of a day. It is one of the first small tasks, and one of the last small tasks. In the morning, it is lifted while the day is still simple. The sink area is familiar. The hand reaches out without thinking much. In the evening, it comes back again. The same sink area, the same small corner. The toothbrush does not change its role. It just repeats what it is made to do, and then returns to waiting. It returns to its place. It waits, it dries, it is lifted again. The same small motion, repeated calmly. Recap. It is lifted, used gently, rinsed, and returned to its place. Chapter 2: Shape, Size, and the calm geometry of holding. A toothbrush has a shape made for one hand. Fingers wrap around the handle. The thumb rests for control. The wrist stays relaxed. The hand does not need to grip hard. It only needs to guide the small repeated strokes. The toothbrush has a handle you hold. At the far end is the head, where the bristles are. Between the handle and the head is the neck. The neck is the narrow space in between. It creates distance between the hand and the mouth. It is a simple bridge that keeps the hand back while the head does the quiet work. A toothbrush is often about 14 to 20 centimeters long overall. This may vary. The head is typically about 2 to 4 centimeters long for an adult style. Smaller for children and compact styles. This may vary. Most people do not measure these lengths. They simply feel them. The handle fits the palm. The head fits inside the mouth without feeling too large. And the whole object feels light enough for small motions. The head holds bristles. Bristles are flexible filaments that sweep surfaces. They are arranged in small groups set into the head. Those groups can be called tufts. Tufts sit next to other tufts, making a field of bristles. When the brush moves, bristles bend, then return. They bend again, then return again. The same small bend, repeated calmly. The toothbrush is usually angled toward the gum line while it is used. This may vary. The angle is small. It changes a little as the brush moves from one area to another. The head turns slightly. The wrist turns slightly. Then the hand settles back into the same simple pattern. Short strokes, repeated gently. When hands are wet, grip becomes simple and careful. A handle can have a surface that feels steadier in a wet hand. Some handles have grip zones, curves, or thumb rests. This may vary. Some handles feel smoother. Some feel more textured. The goal is similar. To help a wet hand keep a steady hold during small repeated strokes. When the toothbrush is set down, it rests in an ordinary way. It may stand upright in a holder. It may lean in a cup. It may be laid down on a counter for a moment. It may be placed in a drawer or cabinet. This may vary. But even when it is resting, it keeps the same quiet readiness. A handle ready for fingers. A head ready for gentle motion. It returns to its place. It waits, it dries, it is lifted again. Recap. A handle to hold, a head to brush, and a small space between. Chapter 3: Where it lives around the sink. A toothbrush usually lives close to the bathroom sink area. That is the place where it is most often used. It stays near water. It stays near a surface where it can be set down. It stays near other daily care items. It becomes part of a small corner of the home that repeats the same tasks each day. Many toothbrushes stand in cups or holders. In a holder, the toothbrush may stand upright. In a cup, it may lean slightly. It may touch the cup wall. It may rest at a small angle. These are tiny details, and they happen without attention. The toothbrush just stays where it is placed. Sometimes a toothbrush is placed on the counter. It may be set down briefly while toothpaste is used. It may be set down after rinsing. It may be set down during cleaning of the sink area. Then it is picked up again, or moved to its usual spot. This may vary, but the counter is one of the surfaces the toothbrush meets from time to time. Some toothbrushes rest in drawers or cabinets. In a drawer, the space is quieter and darker. In a cabinet, the toothbrush may sit on a shelf or inside a container. A closed place can change drying. Drying can take longer in a closed place. This may vary. A toothbrush stored in open air can dry slowly in the room. A toothbrush stored in a closed space may stay damp longer. This may vary. The toothbrush does not control this. It simply lives where it is kept. Shared spaces can change how toothbrushes sit. If several toothbrushes stand near each other, spacing becomes a small detail. Sometimes they are spaced apart so the heads do not touch. Sometimes they rest too close and bristles touch, then separate later. This is not always the same. In some homes, toothbrushes are kept in separate holders. In some homes, they share a cup. In some homes, they are kept in drawers. The exact arrangement may vary, but the routine stays calm. Even the air around the sink area changes slowly. Sometimes the air feels more still. Sometimes it feels like it moves a little more. This may vary. The toothbrush is still there, standing, leaning, or resting, drying in its own time, waiting for the next small motion. It does not rush toward use. It simply waits. It returns to its place. It waits, it dries, it is lifted again. Recap. It stands, it leans, it dries, and it waits. Chapter for a quiet daily routine in small steps. A toothbrush is lifted from its place. A hand closes around the handle. The wrist stays relaxed. The toothbrush leaves the holder or cup and becomes active for a short time. It is a small beginning, and it happens again and again. Water is turned on briefly. The head is held under water. It is turned slightly. This is a quick wetting, not a long wash. Just enough to bring water to the bristles. Then toothpaste is placed on the bristles. The brush pauses for a moment before moving. In that pause, the toothbrush is just held still. Handle in the hand, head at the far end. A small tool waiting for the first stroke. Then the motion begins in the simplest way. The brushing often starts at the front teeth. Small strokes begin. The pace stays even. The head moves in a familiar path. It shifts to the side teeth. It is angled, then angled again. The goal is to keep the bristles meeting the tooth surface and the gum line in a steady way. Then the brush reaches the back teeth. The cheek may be gently moved aside. The head turns slightly. The brush traces along the gum line. The strokes are short. The strokes repeat. Nothing changes quickly. It is the same small motion, repeated calmly. Sometimes the brush is rinsed midway. Water runs through the bristles. Foam loosens and falls away. Then brushing continues. The hand keeps the same pressure. This may vary. Some people press more, some press less. This may vary. But the motion remains small and steady. At the end, the brush is rinsed again. It is turned under water, then turned again. The toothbrush is lightly shaken. Drops fall into the sink. The handle stays in the hand for a moment longer. Then the toothbrush is placed back where it belongs. In a holder, or a cup, or a drawer, this may vary. And the routine closes without fuss. If someone is in a hurry, rinsing may be shorter. The brush may be stored damp. This may vary. the cycle still repeats. Lift, wet, brush gently, rinse, and return. Even a rushed moment follows the same basic steps. And then the toothbrush is back to waiting. It returns to its place. It waits, it dries, it is lifted again. Recap. Lift, wet, brush gently, rinse, and return. Chapter 5: The Slow History of Small Changes. The toothbrush did not arrive all at once. It shifted slowly, step by step, toward the familiar modern form. This slow change is part of why the toothbrush feels so ordinary now. It has had a long time to become simple. It has had a long time to become easy to recognize. And easy to replace. Early simple cleaning tools are described in history. Chew sticks used for mouth cleaning are one example. Simple plant stems used as cleaning tools. The dates and regions for this may vary. But the idea is steady. People used small handheld tools to help keep the mouth cleaner. Later, animal hair bristle brushes appear in historical accounts. Bristles attached to a handle. Repeated strokes become easier. Bristles hold shape. The dates and regions for this may vary. Over time, bone or wood handles are used more widely in some places. Handles become more durable and shaped. Comfort and reuse become part of the object. The details may vary, but the pattern is a gradual shaping toward the tool we know. As time moves on, mass production increases availability. This may vary. What changes is that toothbrushes become more consistent in shape. Standardization lowers cost and simplifies distribution. This may vary. When an object is easy to make in similar forms, it becomes easier to buy and easier to replace. Routine becomes easier. The toothbrush becomes a common household item. Celluloid and early plastics appear in handles in the early 1900s. This may vary. Lighter, moldable handles become more common. Production becomes faster. Shaping becomes more consistent. Then nylon bristles are introduced in the 1930s. This may vary. Bristles become more uniform and less absorbent than some natural hair. The exact year may vary, but the general change is toward a steady supply of bristle material and a more consistent feel. Over time, bristle end rounding becomes more emphasized. This may vary. Tip finishing improves so bristles can feel less scratchy. Soft, medium, and hard labeling becomes more common. This may vary. These labels make choosing easier. They make the purchase feel simple. Handle shaping also changes gradually. More curves, more grip areas, more thumb rests, this may vary. The goal is control, comfort, and wet hand stability. More variants appear over time. Compact head options increase, this may vary. Travel forms become common, including folding designs and caps. Electric toothbrushes become widely available in the late 20th century, this may vary. Specialized designs expand for braces and tight areas, this may vary. Alternative handle materials appear more often, including bamboo and recycled plastics, this may vary. Buying patterns can shift toward multi-packs and planned replacement, this may vary. The details change, but the toothbrush remains a small handheld tool made for repeated gentle brushing motions. Even the names people use can reflect these changes. Words like manual toothbrush, travel toothbrush, and child toothbrush are common. There are also orthodontic toothbrush and sensitive toothbrush options. This may vary, but all these names still point back to the same plain idea. A toothbrush is held in one hand and moved in small repeated strokes. Then it is rinsed and returned. It returns to its place. It waits, it dries, it is lifted again. Recap. Small changes, repeated over years, become the shape we recognize. Chapter 6: Choosing one at a shop, then not thinking about it. A toothbrush is often chosen quickly. The decision is small and practical. A label is read. A color is noticed. The brush is placed in a basket and then taken home. After that, the toothbrush becomes background again. One common set of labels is soft, medium, and hard. These labels describe how stiff the bristles feel. Soft bristles bend easily. Medium bristles have moderate stiffness. Hard bristles resist bending more. People choose based on comfort and preference. This may vary. Some people prefer a gentler feel at the gum line. Some prefer a firmer feel. This may vary. The choice is usually made in a quiet moment, without much thought. Head size can also be part of the choice. Some toothbrushes have a head that feels more compact. Some have a head that feels larger. The head size changes what areas are easy to reach. Compact head options can help reach back teeth for some users. This may vary. People often choose what feels easiest to move in small repeated strokes. Handle feel can matter as well. Some handles feel smoother. Some have grip zones, curves, or thumb rests. This may vary. In a wet hand, small changes in texture can matter. A handle that feels steady can help keep the motion controlled. That is part of why handle shaping has changed over time. Control, comfort, and wet hand stability. Some people also notice the handle material. Many toothbrushes have plastic handles with synthetic bristles. This may vary. Some choose bamboo or wood handle options with synthetic bristles. This may vary. Some brushes have silicone body elements along with synthetic bristles or silicone nubs. This may vary. These choices can be simple preferences. Some people also choose an electric toothbrush, a powered variant in the same category. This may vary. Even then, the toothbrush is still a tool that meets teeth and the gum line through repeated brushing motions. The purpose stays steady. A feel in the hand, a look in the cup, or a personal habit. This may vary. Color can also be part of choosing. In a home with several toothbrushes, color can help identification. A toothbrush can be recognized quickly in a shared cup or holder. This may vary. Some homes use separate holders or separate storage. Some rely on simple color differences. The goal is quiet and practical. To keep the toothbrush personal. Many people buy toothbrushes in multi-packs. Extra toothbrushes then wait in a drawer or cabinet. They stay clean and unused. They become a quiet reserve. They sit in packaging and they do nothing. They are simply there, waiting for a replacement moment. Replacement timing habits vary. Common guidance for a daily use manual toothbrush is often about 3 to 4 months. Shorter with heavy wear or illness, this may vary. Some guidance varies. Some people replace sooner. Some replace later. This may vary. But replacement itself is usually calm. A new brush is opened, the old one is set aside, and the routine continues. The holder looks almost the same. The sink area looks almost the same. And the toothbrush returns to doing what it always does. It returns to its place. It waits, it dries, it is lifted again. Recap. It is chosen simply, and then it becomes part of the routine. Chapter 7: The toothbrush among other objects. A toothbrush sits among other objects that also need water. Toothpaste is often nearby. Soap may be nearby. Towels may be nearby. The sink surface is nearby. A mirror shelf or cabinet edge may be nearby. All of these objects share the same small environment. Wet and dry cycles, small drips, small wipe downs, and quiet repetition. The toothbrush joins that cycle without changing it much. It is lifted, it becomes wet, it is rinsed. Then it is set down and left alone. A few drops may cling to the bristles. A few drops may run down the head. A few drops may sit near the base of the tufts. Then those drops slowly leave. Drying happens in its own time. The holder collects a few drops. The sink edge dries. The counter surface dulls and shines again in small cycles. This may vary. The toothbrush is still there. Not important in a loud way. Just present. Waiting for the next small moment of use. A toothbrush placed into a cup may touch the cup wall. It may lean. It may stand a little more upright later. This may vary. In a holder, it may stand straighter. In a drawer, it may lie still in the dark. This may vary. The toothbrush can live beside other items without needing special care. It simply takes up a small amount of space and then stays quiet. Cleaning day can change small arrangements. A cup might be rinsed. A holder might be wiped. The toothbrush might be moved to the side for a moment, then returned. Sometimes it returns to the exact same spot. Sometimes it returns to a new spot. This may vary. A few centimeters can change where it stands. But the routine stays the same. The toothbrush also meets surfaces in brief moments. It may be set down on the counter while toothpaste is placed. It may be set down after rinsing for a moment. It may be set down when someone is in a hurry. Then it is picked up and placed away again. These small contact points happen quietly. They repeat without being noticed. In a shared bathroom, toothbrushes can stand close together. Sometimes two brushes rest too close and bristles touch. Then later the bristles separate again. This is not always the same. Spacing depends on the holder, the cup, and the habits of the people in the home. But whatever the spacing, the toothbrush remains the same kind of object. Lifted for a short time, then set down again. It returns to its place. It waits, it dries, it is lifted again. Recap. Near water, near daily items, it stays in the same small zone. Chapter 8: Travel life and temporary storage. Sometimes the toothbrush leaves the sink area. It becomes a travel object. It is placed into a travel bag. It goes into a pocket. It meets other small items. It becomes one item among many. Still personal, still familiar, just packed away. Travel toothbrushes can include travel caps. A travel cap is a cover for the head during travel. It protects bristles, but it can also trap moisture if it is closed while the head is still damp. This is not always the same. Some people let the brush dry before capping. Some do not. This may vary. In travel, moisture becomes more noticeable because storage is more enclosed. Some travel forms fold. A folding design becomes compact when closed. It can feel tidy and small in a bag. This may vary. A hinge can loosen over time. This may vary. but the simple reason for folding is the same: portability and storage convenience. In a temporary place, the toothbrush needs a temporary spot. It may stand in a cup. It may lean against the cup wall. It may be placed on the sink edge. It may be kept in a travel case. This may vary. The setup might feel unfamiliar at first. Then it becomes familiar after a day or two. This may vary. The toothbrush adapts easily. It does not require a perfect place. Only a place to rest between uses. When the toothbrush is packed, it can touch other items. The handle can press against a small container. The head can be protected by a cap, or it can be set inside a case. This may vary. Travel adds small changes in contact and storage, but the routine stays the same. Lift, wet briefly, add toothpaste, brush gently, rinse, and return. Sometimes, while traveling, the toothbrush is used in a smaller space. A smaller sink, a different mirror, a different shelf edge. This may vary. The hand still finds the same grip. Fingers around the handle, thumb resting for control. The brush still moves in small repeated strokes, and then it is rinsed and set down again. When the trip ends, the toothbrush comes back to the familiar sink area. It is unpacked. It is set down again. It returns to its place. It waits, it dries, it is lifted again. And the home routine returns as if it never left. Away, enclosed, then back again. Returning to place, returning to routine. Recap. Away, enclosed, then back again, returning to its place. Chapter 9: Small differences between people's habits. A toothbrush can look similar in many homes, but the habits around it can differ. Some people brush quickly. Some brush slowly. This may vary. The toothbrush does the same job either way, but the feel of the routine changes with the pace. Pressure habits can differ too. Some people press lightly. Some people press harder. This may vary. Pressure changes how the bristles bend. It can change how the brush feels at the gum line. This may vary. Over time, pressure can change how the bristles spread outward. This may vary. These changes are not sudden. They appear slowly, with many uses. The same small motion, repeated calmly. Rinsing habits vary. Some people rinse midway. Water runs through the bristles and foam loosens and falls away. Some people do not rinse until the end. This may vary. Some people rinse quickly. Some rinse longer. This may vary. No matter the style, the brush is still rinsed under water and then returned to storage. Storage preferences also vary. Some store upright in a holder. Some store in a cup. Some store in a drawer. Some store in a cabinet shelf. Some store in a travel case when away. This may vary. A closed place can keep a brush in a darker, quieter space. Drying can take longer in a closed place. This may vary. Open air storage allows more airflow. Drying can feel simpler in open air. This may vary. Replacement timing differences are common. Some people follow common guidance of about 3 to 4 months for daily use manual toothbrushes. Some replace sooner, especially with heavy wear or illness. This may vary. Some replace later. This may vary. The exact moment of replacement is not always the same, but replacement is usually calm. A new brush is opened. The old one is set aside, and the routine continues without needing a big change. Small daily events can happen too. Sometimes a toothbrush is moved after cleaning the bathroom. It returns to a new spot. Sometimes it is misplaced. It is set down on a shelf. It is found later. This may vary. None of this is dramatic. It is just the way small objects move through daily life. In shared spaces, identification can matter. Color differences can help. Separate storage can help. This may vary. Mix-ups can happen if brushes are too similar or stored too close. This may vary. So many homes keep toothbrushes in a way that feels clear and personal. A small choice that supports a calm routine. It returns to its place. It waits, it dries, it is lifted again. Recap. Different hands, similar motions, and the same small tool. Chapter 10. Returning to the simple idea. The toothbrush stays simple. It is used, then rinsed, then stored. That pattern repeats many times. It is a tool for repeating motions. A tool that lives near water. A tool that moves in small repeated strokes and then rests again. When you picture a toothbrush, you can picture the handle in the hand. Fingers wrapped around it. Thumb resting for control. The head at the far end. Bristles ready to bend and return. The neck in between, creating a small distance from hand to mouth. All of it arranged for a calm routine. You can picture it in its usual place, near the bathroom sink area, standing in a holder, or leaning in a cup, or resting in a drawer or cabinet. This may vary, but the feeling stays steady. It has a place. It returns to that place. You can picture the cycle. Lifted from its place. Wetted briefly under water. Toothpaste placed on the bristles. A pause for a moment. Then small strokes. Front teeth, side teeth, back teeth. Angle shifting slightly. Tracing along the gum line. Sometimes a midway rinse. Foam loosening and falling away. Then a final rinse. A light shake. Drops falling into the sink. And then the return. It returns to its place. It waits, it dries, it is lifted again. The same small motion, repeated calmly. Over time, the toothbrush can change in small quiet ways. A handle can show small scratches. Printing can fade, this may vary. Bristles can slowly spread outward with use. This may vary. These changes are not sudden. They are slow and ordinary. And then one day, a new toothbrush is opened. The old one is set aside. The holder looks almost the same. The sink area looks almost the same. And the routine continues. Even travel does not change the core idea. A cap or case, a pocket or bag, this may vary. The toothbrush is still the same small tool. Still held in one hand. Still used with repeated gentle brushing motions. Still rinsed under water. Still returned to a resting place. It returns to its place, wherever that place is. A cup, a holder, a drawer, a case, this may vary. Before we end, we can rest with the idea that the toothbrush is not a complicated object. It is not a surprising object. It does one small job, and then it rests. It lives in a small place near water. It is lifted, used briefly, rinsed, and set down again. The routine continues without drama. So we can end this segment by returning to the plain loop. A toothbrush near water. A toothbrush used briefly. A toothbrush rinsed. A toothbrush drying. A toothbrush waiting. It returns to its place. It waits, it dries, it is lifted again. Used, rinsed, and returned, again and again. Recap. Used, rinsed, and returned, again and again. Chapter 11. Materials chosen for water and repetition. A toothbrush meets water again and again. That is one of its main conditions. It lives near the sink, it is rinsed, it is shaken off, and it is set down to dry. So the materials are chosen to tolerate that quiet exposure. They are chosen to hold shape and to be handled often. A common build is a plastic handle with synthetic bristles. The handle is often polypropylene. That is a common plastic used because it is low cost, easy to mold, and water resistant. It does not absorb much water. It can be made light in the hand. It can also be designed to flex a little. This may vary. Some handles feel stiffer and some feel a little more flexible. But the goal stays the same. A handle that can be held every day. The bristles are often nylon. Nylon is a common synthetic material used because it is consistent and durable. It helps the bristle field feel predictable. It bends and returns. It bends again and returns again. That is part of how it supports repeated gentle brushing motions. Another handle material variant is bamboo or wood with synthetic bristles. This may vary. A bamboo or wood handle can feel different in the hand. It can feel a bit warmer and a bit more dry. It can also feel less slippery when wet. This may vary, but it can absorb moisture more than plastic if it is unsealed. And the way it ages can look different over time. It may darken at edges. It may show a raised grain. It may form small cracks near wet areas. This may vary. The toothbrush still returns to the same daily use. The same small repeated motion. The same rinse and the same drying. Another variant includes silicone elements, either a full body or grip zones, with synthetic bristles or silicone nubs. This may vary. Silicone can feel soft in the hand. It can feel springy. It can grip well even when wet. This may vary, but its surface can hold a film if it is not rinsed well. And it can pick up lint or dust in storage. This may vary. Still, the idea remains simple. A toothbrush is made to be held and to repeat the same small motions. A toothbrush is often a mix of materials. A plastic handle and nylon bristles, or bamboo with synthetic bristles, or silicone elements with bristles or nubs. This is not always the same, but the trade-off is quiet. Different materials change the feel in the hand. They change how slippery it feels when wet. They change how it dries and how it ages. And then the toothbrush still returns to the same routine. Used briefly, rinsed under water, lightly shaken, and set down to dry. Step by step, it becomes a toothbrush. Made to tolerate water. Made to tolerate touch. Made to repeat the same motion. Recap. Materials are chosen for water, for touch, and for repeating use. Chapter 12. The handle made by molding. The handle begins before it has a shape. It begins as raw material that arrives in a factory. For a plastic handle, that raw material can be small pellets. Those pellets arrive along with bristle filament stock and packaging materials. Then the process begins in calm steps. Sometimes pellets are dried before molding, if needed. This helps reduce moisture before the handle is formed. Moisture can be a quiet variable. This may vary. Some batches may need more drying, some less. So there can be small checks and small adjustments. A sampling of moisture. A look at batch labels. A simple confirmation that the material is ready. Then the handle mold is prepared. A mold is a fixed shape waiting to be filled. It is cleaned, aligned, and heated to a working range. If there is residue in the mold cavities, it can affect the surface. So there can be a visual inspection and test shots. A small check, a small adjustment. Then the next step follows. Injection molding forms the handle. Plastic is melted, then pushed into the mold under pressure. The mold holds the shape. The plastic fills the space. Then it cools and becomes solid again. This may vary. Sometimes there can be short shots where the mold is not filled completely. Sometimes there can be sink marks, small dents in the surface. Sometimes there can be flash at seams where extra thin plastic forms along edges. So the handle is checked. Weight checks, dimensional checks, surface checks. Small checks that keep the handle within a familiar range of feel. After molding, the handle cools and is ejected from the mold. Cooling matters. If cooled unevenly, a handle can warp. So flatness and straightness can be sampled. A calm check. Not a dramatic moment. Just a simple part of keeping a familiar shape. Then trimming and deflashing can happen. Excess plastic along seams is removed. If sharp edges are left behind, the handle can feel rough in a wet hand. So there can be edge feel checks and visual checks. The goal is a handle that feels calm. A handle that can be held without noticing sharpness. Some handles include secondary grip over molding, if used. A softer material is molded onto grip areas. This may vary. If bonding is poor, edges can lift. If alignment is off, the grip can feel strange under the thumb. So there can be adhesion tests and placement checks. Again, a small check, a small adjustment. When the handle is done, it still looks like only a handle. It does not brush teeth yet, but the part the hand will hold is now shaped. A fixed form. Ready for bristles. Ready to become the familiar object that rests near the sink. Heat, shape, cool, trim, and check. Step by step, it becomes a toothbrush. Recap. Heat, shape, cool, trim, and check. Chapter 13. The bristles prepared in quiet bundles. The bristles also begin without a toothbrush shape. They begin as filament stock. Long strands meant to be cut and grouped. They are prepared so they can become tufts. Small clusters that will sit in the head. Bristle cutting is one calm step. Filaments are cut to starting lengths. The goal is consistency. This may vary. If lengths are uneven, the bristle field can feel irregular. So there can be length sampling. A quiet check. Not done to impress. Just done to keep the brush predictable in daily use. After cutting, bristles are bundled into tufts. A tuft is a small group of bristles. Tufts are meant to be similar to one another. So the bristle field becomes even. This may vary. Sometimes tuft density can vary. So there can be sampling by weight or count, and camera checks. Another small check. Static and dust control can matter during bristle handling. This may vary. Fine filaments can attract dust. so there can be small steps meant to keep things cleaner as they move forward. The goal is to reduce stray particles, so later washing and drying steps can be more effective. Tufts are prepared to be placed into the head. Each tuft is a small piece, but many tufts together become the full brushing surface. When you look at a finished toothbrush head, you are seeing many small bundles placed into a plan pattern. And when you brush, you feel them all bend together, then return. Bend again, then return again. That bending begins here, in the quiet bundling step. Cut, bundle, and prepare. Small repeated groups. Small repeated checks. Step by step, it becomes a toothbrush. Recap. Cut, bundle, and prepare in small repeated groups. Chapter 14: Tufting, attaching bristles to the head. Now we can move on to the moment tufts meet the head. The head is the part that contacts teeth. Before tufting, the head is shaped and ready. It has holes in a planned spacing. Those holes accept the tufts, so the bristle field can form a consistent surface. Head hole formation is a step where small holes are made or confirmed in the head area. Spacing matters. If hole size or spacing is inconsistent, tuft placement can look uneven. So spacing templates and camera inspection can be used. A quiet check. A small adjustment. Then the head is ready to receive tufts. Tufting and anchoring is the step where tufts are set into those holes. They can be held by different anchoring methods. This may vary. Some methods use a staple set approach. Some use anchor-free approaches. The point is the same: to keep tufts held in place through months of repeated brushing and rinsing. Imperfections can happen here too. A tuft can be loose. A tuft can be missing. An anchor can be exposed. This may vary. So quality checks can include pull tests and missing tuft checks. A gentle pull, just enough to confirm the tuft holds. A look to confirm the bristle field has no gaps. A small check, a small adjustment. Alignment checks also matter. A bristle field that is aligned well feels more predictable. It meets teeth in a consistent way. It rinses in a consistent way. And when it is new, it tends to look neat and even. Tufting is one of those steps that most people never see, but they feel the results. If a tuft is missing, it creates a small gap. If tufts are loose, bristles may shed. If tufts are set evenly, the brush feels stable and familiar. So this quiet step supports the quiet experience later at the sink. Tufts go in, they are held, they are checked. Step by step, it becomes a toothbrush. Recap. Tufts go in, they are held, they are checked. Chapter 15: Trimming and tip finishing. After tufting, bristles are present, but not finished. They may be too long. They may be uneven. So bristle trimming shapes the bristle field into a final profile. This is the moment where the brush begins to look like the brush you recognize. Bristles can be trimmed into different profiles. A flat profile is one level line. An angled profile is a slope. There are also trim patterns that shape how bristles contact tooth surfaces. This may vary. Some feel more consistent across the surface. Some feel like they guide toward gumline angles. This may vary, but the goal remains comfort and predictable contact. During trimming, imperfections can appear. Cuts can be jagged. Contours can be uneven. This may vary, so profile gauges and visual inspection can be used. A small check. A small adjustment. keeping the bristle field within a familiar range. Then tip finishing can happen. End rounding is one concept here. End-rounded bristle tips are smooth during production. The idea is that smoother tips can feel less scratchy. This may vary. If rounding is incomplete, tips can feel sharper. If heat finishing goes too far, tips can form melted clumps. This may vary. So there can be microscope sampling and field checks. A quiet look. A quiet touch. Confirming that the bristles feel calm and even. This part is about comfort. The toothbrush is a tool used near sensitive areas. So the feel matters. It matters at the gum line. It matters where cheeks meet the head. It matters where the brush turns in the back of the mouth. A small difference in tip finishing can become noticeable in daily use. So the finishing step helps the brush feel gentle and steady. Trim the shape, smooth the tips, check the feel. Step by step, it becomes a toothbrush. Recap. Trim the shape, smooth the tips, check the feel. Chapter 16: Adding grip zones and markings. Now we can look at the parts that help the toothbrush feel personal and help it feel steady in wet fingers. These are small choices that do not change the purpose, but they change the daily feel. Some toothbrushes add a softer grip zone through overmolding. A soft material is molded onto the grip area. This may vary. The result can feel more secure when fingers are wet. It can reduce slipping. It can make the hand feel more stable during small repeated strokes. Overmolding can have its own imperfections. Bonding can be poor. Gaps can appear. Misalignment can make the grip sit in the wrong place. This may vary. So there can be adhesion tests and placement checks. A small check. A small adjustment. The goal is a grip that stays attached and feels consistent. Texture is another way the handle supports grip. Texture can be small raised patterns. It reduces slipping when wet. But deep texture can trap film. So texture depth becomes a quiet trade-off. More grip, more grooves. And then more need for rinsing and occasional wiping. This may vary. Surface finish can change how it looks in storage. Gloss can show water spots more clearly. Matte can feel less slippery in wet hands. Smooth finishes can be easy to wipe clean. This may vary. All of these are quiet choices that affect how the handle looks and feels over time. Markings and identification features also matter. In a home with more than one toothbrush, a brush needs to stay personal. Color bands and markings can reduce mix-ups. Printed labels can help too. But printed ink can fade with water and rubbing. This may vary. So there can be legibility checks and rub tests. A small check to keep markings readable for a while. Even with all these features, the toothbrush remains simple. A tool held in one hand. Moved in small repeated strokes, usually angled toward the gum line. Rinsed under water, lightly shaken, and set down to dry. Grips and markings do not change that. They just make the holding and storing a little clearer. Grip, texture, marking, and a small check. Step by step, it becomes a toothbrush. Recap. Grip, texture, marking, and a small check. Chapter 17: Washing, drying, and the quiet idea of clean before use. Before a toothbrush reaches a bathroom sink, it is cleaned and dried in production steps. Not cleaned like it will be cleaned at home, but cleaned to remove dust and manufacturing residue, so it can begin its home life in a clean state. Washing and cleaning is a step where brushes are cleaned to remove dust and residue. Imperfections here can include leftover particles or water spots. So residue sampling and drying checks can be used. A quiet check. A small adjustment. Keeping the brush within a familiar range of cleanliness and appearance. Drying follows. Brushes can be dried with airflow or controlled time. The idea is to avoid trapped moisture as packaging begins. This may vary. Trapped moisture in a packaging zone can affect how a new brush smells when opened. It can also affect how clean it feels at first. So moisture checks and time dwell verification can be used. Small checks that support a calm first use later at home. This is a quiet part of the story, because most people only meet the toothbrush at the moment it is opened. At that moment it feels new. It can feel slightly stiffer at first use. Then over time it becomes softer through repeated bending. This may vary, but the first impression begins here, with washing, drying, and simple checks. When a toothbrush is dry and ready, it is close to becoming a finished product. Not finished in the sense of being used, but finished in the sense of being prepared. Ready to be sealed, stored, and shipped. Cleaned, dried, and ready. Step by step, it becomes a toothbrush. Recap. Cleaned, dried, and ready before it enters the bathroom routine. Chapter 18: Packaging and the idea of new. Packaging is not part of brushing, but it is part of how a toothbrush arrives. It keeps the brush clean before it enters the home. It keeps dust away. It keeps the bristles from being pressed and bent during shipping. This may vary, and it supports the idea of a new brush waiting for a first use. Packaging can take different forms. There can be individual packs. There can be blister packs. There can be multi-packs. This may vary. The purpose is similar: to keep the brush clean and contained until it is opened. During packaging, seals matter. Incomplete seals can allow dust. Trapped dust can make a brush look less clean. So seal integrity tests and visual checks can be used. Another small check. A small adjustment. If the toothbrush includes accessories like travel caps, cases, or multi-pack arrangements, those can be assembled at a final assembly step. Loose caps, misfit parts, or cracked hinges can occur. This may vary. So fit checks and open-close cycle sampling can be used. Quiet checks that support a travel brush working as expected. Then cartoning and shipment follow. Packs are placed in cartons. Counts are verified. Barcodes can be scanned. This helps avoid mixed items and missed counts. A small check that supports predictable shopping and replacement. Storage and shipment also have quiet risks. Heat exposure during transport can happen. This may vary. So temperature exposure guidelines and handling standards can be used. These are not dramatic events. Just quiet planning to keep the product within a familiar range. Then, at home, packaging becomes a small opening ritual. A brush is unwrapped. It feels clean. It looks unused. It may feel slightly stiffer at first. This may vary. Then it is placed near the sink, and its home life begins. Used briefly, rinsed, shaken off, and set down to dry. Sealed, stored, opened, and placed near the sink. Step by step, it becomes a toothbrush. Recap. Sealed, stored, opened, and placed near the sink. Chapter 19: Design choices that shape daily feel. Now we can look at design variables. These are the quiet decisions that shape what the toothbrush feels like each day. Not in a dramatic way, just in small differences that become familiar. Overall length is one variable. A longer handle can feel easier to hold. A shorter handle can feel more compact. This may vary. A long handle can feel awkward in small cups. A shorter handle can be easier to store. Either way, it is still held in one hand. Moved in small repeated strokes. Handle thickness changes grip comfort and control. A thicker handle can feel stable. A thinner handle can feel more precise. This may vary. Thicker textures can have more grooves to rinse. Thinner handles can flex more. This may vary. Weight distribution changes balance. Some brushes feel balanced. Some feel slightly head-heavy. This may vary. Head-heavy can feel like it falls forward a little. Balance can feel steadier. These are small feelings that become familiar over time. Grip texture depth is another trade-off. Deeper texture grips more in wet hands. But deep texture can trap film. So cleaning needs can change. A brush with deeper texture may benefit from more thorough rinsing and occasional wiping. A brush with a smoother finish may be easier to wipe clean. This may vary. Surface finish, gloss or matte, changes both feel and appearance. Gloss may show water spots more clearly in storage. Matte can feel less slippery. Smooth finishes wipe clean easily. Matte can hold film and may look dull over time. This may vary. These are not big problems. Just small daily differences in how the handle looks and feels near the sink. Neck flex zones affect how pressure is absorbed. Flex can reduce harsh contact feeling. But too much flex can reduce control. This may vary. Flex joints can also hold residue at edges. This may vary. So again, it is a quiet compromise. Comfort, control, and cleanliness. Head size changes access and coverage. A compact head can reach back teeth with less bumping. A full-size head can cover more surface per stroke. This may vary. Larger heads can hold more foam and rinse longer. Compact heads can take more strokes. Either way, the motion remains small and repeated. Bristle stiffness changes the feel at the gum line. Soft feels smoother. Hard can feel more scratchy. This may vary. Stiffer bristles can increase wear if used with force. This may vary. Bristle height variation changes how the brush meets different tooth shapes. Tuft spacing affects water flow and foam release. Tip shape, rounded or tapered, affects feel and reach in small spaces. This may vary. All of these choices shape the same daily action. A gentle repeated motion, then a rinse, then drying. Trade-offs stay quiet. More texture grips better, but can hold film. Compact heads reach back, but cover less at once. Matte feels less slippery, but can look duller over time. These are small compromises. And the user usually just chooses what feels comfortable, then stops thinking about it. Small changes in shape become small changes in use. Step by step, it becomes a toothbrush designed for a steady routine. Recap. Small changes in shape become small changes in use. Chapter 20 Imperfections, checks, and returning to the finished object. Even with careful production, toothbrushes are not perfectly identical. This may vary. Small variations can happen. A seam line can be slightly more noticeable. A surface can be slightly duller. A bristle field can be slightly uneven. This may vary, so quality checks exist to keep the product within a familiar range. In molding, imperfections can include short shots, sink marks, and flash at seams. This may vary. Cooling can lead to warping if uneven. Trimming can leave sharp edges if not done well. This may vary. So there are weight checks, dimensional checks, surface checks, and flatness sampling. There are edge field checks. Small checks that prevent a toothbrush from feeling harsh in the hand. In tufting, imperfections can include loose tufts, missing tufts, and exposed anchors. This may vary. So pull tests and missing tuft checks help catch problems. These checks are simple. They support a toothbrush that can be used through repeated motions without shedding or gaps. In trimming and finishing, imperfections can include jagged cuts, uneven contours, incomplete end rounding, or melted clumps. This may vary. So profile gauges, microscope sampling, and field checks help confirm the finish. A toothbrush is meant to touch sensitive areas, so comfort is part of the goal, not just a clean look. In washing and drying, imperfections can include leftover particles, water spots, and trapped moisture. This may vary. So residue sampling, drying checks, and moisture checks support a cleaner first use. Then packaging checks support clean storage before opening. Seal integrity tests, visual checks, fit checks for caps, and count verification in cartoning. Small checks, repeated calmly. All of this can sound like many steps, but the purpose remains plain: to produce a simple object that will do a simple job. A toothbrush is used to remove plaque and food residue from teeth and along the gum line through repeated gentle brushing motions. So the object is built to repeat, built to tolerate water, built to sit near the sink, built to be held with one hand, fingers wrapped around the handle, thumb resting for control, built to be rinsed, lightly shaken, and set down to dry. Once it reaches a home, the toothbrush stops being a production story. It becomes a bathroom object. A small handle in a cup or holder. A head facing upward. A quiet tool waiting between uses. It returns to its place. It waits, it dries, it is lifted again. Made in many calm steps, then used in many calm steps. Step by step it was made, and now it repeats its quiet work. Recap. Step by step it was made, and now it repeats its quiet work. Chapter 21, the first week and the feel of newness. A new toothbrush feels firm. The bristles hold their shape strongly at first. After rinsing, they spring back quickly. The bristle field looks tidy and close together. Tufts sit in neat rows. Spacing looks even. And the head looks clean in a way that feels simple and clear. The handle also feels new. It feels clean and unmarked. There are fewer scratches. There are fewer signs of daily contact. If there is labeling on the handle, it looks sharper at first. If the handle has a gloss finish, it can look shiny and smooth. If it has a matte finish, it can look softer and less shiny. If it has texture, the texture can feel crisp under the thumb. This may vary, but the feeling of newness tends to be easy to notice in the first week. In that first week, the toothbrush also learns its place in the home. Not in a thinking way, just in a routine way. It begins to return to the same storage spot. A holder, a cup storage spot, a drawer storage space, a cabinet shelf, or a travel case. This may vary, but it becomes consistent. It sits in the same position day after day. and the hand reaches for it without needing to search. Identification becomes routine too. In a home with more than one toothbrush, each brush is usually meant for one person. Color, labeling, or placement can help keep it clear. This may vary. The brush becomes the one that always sits in that same slot, or the one that always leans in that same corner of the cup. And that small pattern makes it feel settled. The daily cycle begins without interruption. It is picked up. It is moved in small repeated strokes, usually angled toward the gum line. It is rinsed under water. It is lightly shaken with a small shake-off motion. Then it is set upright or laid down to dry. That cycle repeats. Use, rinse, dry. Use, rinse, dry. The same small motion, repeated calmly. In the first week, the toothbrush often looks like it has not changed. The bristles still return to shape. The handle still looks clean. The head still looks neat. If there is staining, it is usually not strong yet. This may vary. If there is odor, it is usually not present yet. This may vary. Most of the time, the first week feels like the beginning of a simple pattern that will keep repeating. Another small detail is the way the toothbrush begins to fit into the sink area. It sits among toothpaste and other daily items. It may collect a few water spots. This may vary. It may lean in a cup and touch the cup wall. This may vary. It may stand upright with space around it. This may vary. But the main thing is steady. New at first, then slowly settling into routine. It dries, it waits, it wears a little, and the days move on. Recap. New at first, then slowly settling into routine. Chapter 22, Daily Cleaning and what happens and what is skipped. Most toothbrush care is just rinsing. After brushing, the head is turned under running water. The handle rotates slowly in the hand. Foam thins out and leaves in small streams. The bristle field loosens what it is holding, and the rinse carries it away. Then the brush is lightly shaken. Not a large movement, just a small shake-off. And then it is set down again to air dry. Rinsing length differences are common. Some rinses are quick. Some are longer. This may vary. A quick rinse can leave more residue near the tough bases. This may vary. A longer rinse can clear more foam and debris. This may vary. The toothbrush does not demand a perfect rinse. It simply follows the habit of the hand that holds it. Shake-off habits vary too. Some people do one small shake. Some do a few. This may vary. Less water can mean faster drying. More water left in the bristle field can mean slower drying. This may vary, but the motion is usually the same kind of small wrist movement. A gentle flick, a pause, then storage. Air dry versus enclosed storage changes the next hours of the toothbrush's life. Open air supports drying. Enclosed spaces slow it down. This may vary. A holder near the sink lets the brush sit upright. A cup storage spot can let it lean. Water can pool at the base of a cup if it does not drain well. This may vary. Drawer storage is quieter and darker with lower ventilation, so drying is slower. This may vary. Cabinet storage can also slow drying compared to open air. This may vary. And travel caps protect bristles but can trap moisture when closed too soon. This may vary. Contact with holders and cups becomes part of daily wear. The handle touches the edge of a cup. The head may brush near another head in a shared holder. This may vary. When bristles touch bristles, cross-contamination can happen. This may vary. Spacing helps. A holder with separate slots can keep bristles apart. Cup storage can be crowded. This may vary. And the toothbrush simply stays where it is placed until it is lifted again. Some care steps are skipped in busy moments. A damp brush may be stored quickly. A rinse may be shorter. A shake-off may be skipped. This may vary. When steps are skipped, the toothbrush still continues. It dries more slowly. Residue may linger more. Odor may develop more easily in damp storage. This may vary. But nothing sudden happens. Just small differences that build slowly. Calm improvement habits can be simple. A slightly longer rinse. A small shake-off. A storage spot with more air. Small changes like these can help the brush stay simple day to day. This may vary. And the toothbrush keeps repeating the same daily pattern. Rinse, shake, dry, and repeat. A small action, done often, becoming a quiet routine over time. Recap. Rinse, shake, dry, and repeat. Chapter 23, Slow Wear and Splay and Fray and Softening. Wear shows first in the bristles. Each day, the bristles bend a little. They bend during small repeated strokes. They bend again during rinsing when water runs through the bristle field. They bend again when they touch the cup wall or another brush. This may vary. And then they return. Over time, they return less completely. Splay is one of the clearest slow changes. Splay is bristles spreading outward with use. At first it can be subtle. A few tufts leaning outward. A slightly wider bristle field when viewed from above. Then slowly it becomes more obvious. Bristles spread and do not return to the original tidy shape. This happens through ordinary use, not through a single moment. A small change, then another small change. Fray is another slow change. Fray is when bristle ends split or roughen. It can make the bristle tips feel less even on gums. This may vary. Some brushes show fray sooner, some later. This may vary. Pressure habits shape this. Higher pressure can increase wear on bristles and gums. Lower pressure can slow wear. This may vary. The toothbrush does not control pressure. It simply responds to it, bend and return, until the return becomes less complete. Softening can also happen gradually. A new toothbrush can feel firmer. Then after many bends, it can feel less stiff. This may vary. The change is not dramatic. It is often noticed only when a new brush appears. When a new brush feels firm again, and the old brush feels softer by comparison. Small changes in brushing feel can follow these wear changes. A splayed brush can feel less precise. It can feel like it spreads across the tooth surface rather than meeting edges in a tidy line. This may vary. A frayed brush can feel uneven. It can feel scratchier in places and duller in others. This may vary. And as the bristles change, the routine still looks the same from a distance. Pick up, brush gently, rinse, shake off, store. But the contact becomes slightly different. Staining can also appear over time. Staining is a color change from toothpaste, mouth products, or storage conditions. This may vary. Sometimes staining is mild. Sometimes it is more noticeable near the tough bases. This may vary. Staining does not always change function, but it signals age and build-up. And it becomes part of the toothbrush slow story. Odor can develop in damp storage, especially when drying is slow. This may vary. Odor is not always the same. Some brushes never develop a noticeable smell. Some do. This may vary. And when odor appears, it often suggests slow drying or residue. All of this is slow. A little bending each day becomes visible over time. The toothbrush does not suddenly become different. It becomes slightly different, then slightly different again. And the hand continues to use it in the same calm way. It dries, it waits, it wears a little. A small change, then another small change. Recap. A little bending each day becomes visible over time. Chapter 24. Storage environment and moisture and airflow. Storage is a quiet factor in how a toothbrush ages. Not because it changes brushing, but because it changes drying. Drying happens between uses. And between uses is most of the toothbrush's life. Upright drying has simple benefits. When a toothbrush is stored upright in open air, water can leave the bristles more easily. Air can move around the bristle field. The head can drip a little, then become dry. This may vary. A holder that keeps the brush upright and spaced can support drying. Spacing helps keep bristles from touching. And spacing can reduce cross-contamination in shared holders. This may vary. Cup storage can be fine, but pooled water can collect at the base if not drained. This may vary. When water pools, the lower part of the handle can sit near moisture longer. The bristles can remain damp longer if the cup is crowded. This may vary. A cup can also encourage brushes to lean. Leaning can cause bristles to press against the cup wall. This may vary. And when bristles press, they can bend in one direction for hours. Then slowly relax again. Over time, that can add to splay. This may vary. Drawer storage is a different environment. It is quieter and darker. Ventilation is lower and drying is slower. This may vary. A brush stored damp in a drawer can stay damp longer. Residue can linger near tough bases. Odor can develop more easily. This may vary. Cabinet storage can also slow drying compared to open air. This may vary. The toothbrush does not mind the darkness. But moisture can linger. And lingering moisture can change how the brush feels and smells over time. Travel caps are a clear example of this. A travel cap protects the head during travel. It keeps bristles from being crushed. But it can trap moisture when the brush is capped while damp. This may vary. A brush does best when it has time to dry before closure. This may vary. When drying is skipped, moisture stays enclosed. And odor and residue can build more easily. This may vary. Shared holders and touching bristles are another small detail. When bristles touch bristles, residue can transfer. Cross-contamination can happen. This may vary. Spacing helps. A holder with separate slots can help. A cup with crowded brushes can make touching more likely. This may vary. These are not dramatic problems. Just small conditions that shape how simple the brush stays between uses. Small adjustments that help can stay plain. A storage position with more air. A moment of shake-off to remove water. A little more spacing. A brush set upright rather than left flat in a puddle. This may vary. These changes are small and they do not demand effort. They simply support drying. And dryness supports a calmer toothbrush life. Air helps it dry, and dryness helps it stay simple. It dries, it waits, it wears a little. Then it is lifted again for the same small motion. Recap. Air helps it dry, and dryness helps it stay simple. Chapter 25. Occasional deeper cleaning in a calm way. Most toothbrush care remains simple. Rinse, shake off, air dry. That is what happens most days. But sometimes people do a little more. Not with drama. Just with a small extra step during bathroom cleaning day or during a reset moment. One simple step is wiping the handle. A handle can collect a film from wet hands, toothpaste, and daily contact. This may vary. Some people wipe the handle with mild soap, then rinse it. This may vary. If the handle has texture, grooves can hold residue more easily. This may vary. So a wipe can focus on those texture zones. The handle is rubbed gently, then rinsed, then placed back to dry again. Another simple step is rinsing longer than usual. Sometimes a longer rinse clears more foam and debris from the bristle field. It can clear residue near tough bases. This may vary. The head is turned under water. The handle rotates slowly. Foam thins out and leaves. Then the brush is shaken off and returned to storage. Checking seam lines and textures can be part of this. A seam line is a faint line from mold production. Sometimes a seam can collect residue if it is not smooth. This may vary. So a quick wipe across the seam line can help. A quick rinse. A dry time in open air. Small actions that keep the brush feeling clean in the hand. Some people soak brushes in mouthwash or other solutions. This is not always the same. The real benefit may vary. And the details of what solutions are used may vary. But one part remains steady. Drying afterwards still matters. A brush that is soaked is then wet. So it still needs time to air dry. And if it is stored enclosed while wet, moisture can linger. This may vary. So even when extra steps are used, the simplest part stays important. Clean it simply, then let it dry again. A deeper cleaning moment can also happen when odor appears. Odor can develop in damp storage. This may vary. A longer rinse and a better drying spot can reduce odor over time. This may vary. Sometimes odor remains even after cleaning. This may vary. And that can become a sign that replacement is approaching. These deeper cleaning habits are usually calm. They do not need special equipment. They do not need long routines. They are small resets. A wipe, a rinse, a dry. Then the toothbrush goes back to the same daily life. Used briefly, rinsed, shaken off, and stored. It dries, it waits, it wears a little. A small change, then another small change. Recap. Clean it simply, then let it dry again. Chapter 26. Signs that replacement is approaching. Replacement signs often appear slowly. They do not arrive as a sudden event. They build through small changes. A small change, then another small change. And then one day, the brush looks and feels older in an obvious way. Persistent splay is one common sign. Bristles spread outward and do not return to shape. The bristle field looks wider, less tidy. Even after rinsing, the tufts lean outward. Splay can make the brush feel less precise. This may vary. It can also make the head look worn even when it is clean. Rough bristle feel can be another sign. Fray can make the bristle tips feel uneven on gums. This may vary. Some people notice roughness sooner. Some notice it later. This may vary. A brush that once felt soft can begin to feel scratchier at the gum line. This may vary. Cracks near the neck can also be a sign. The neck is the narrowed area between handle and head. It can flex slightly. And over time, stress and daily contact can create small cracks. This may vary. Cracks can change alignment. They can also make the brush feel less stable in the hand. This may vary. Warp can also appear. Warp is bending of the handle or head shape over time. This may vary. Warp can change the brushing angle, and it can make the brush feel slightly off compared to what it was before. Odor that remains after cleaning can be another sign. Odor can suggest slow drying or residue. This may vary. If a longer rinse and better air dry habits do not reduce odor. This may vary. It can become part of the calm decision to switch. The calm decision to replace can be routine. Many people follow a replacement cycle. Common guidance is often about 3 to 4 months for a daily use manual toothbrush. Shorter with heavy wear or illness. This may vary. Some people replace based on time. Some replace based on appearance and feel. This may vary. Either way, replacement can be quiet. No announcement. Just a new brush opened and the old one set aside. When it no longer holds its shape, it is replaced without drama. Replace, reset, begin again. A small change, then a new beginning. Recap. When it no longer holds its shape, it is replaced without drama. Chapter 27, the moment of switching from old to new. The switching moment is usually simple. A new toothbrush is opened. It feels clean and firm. The bristles hold shape strongly. The handle feels new. The surface looks less marked. And the contrast with the old brush can be noticeable in a quiet way. There can be a brief comparison. Not a careful study. Just a moment of noticing. The new brush feels stiffer. The old brush feels softer. This may vary. The old brush may show splay. The new brush looks tidy. The old brush may have staining near tough bases. The new brush looks clean. This may vary. And then the new brush is placed into the familiar spot. Assigning a place in the holder or cup is part of this. The brush becomes the one that sits on the left, or the right, or the one that stands in that particular slot. This may vary. In a shared bathroom, this placement helps identification. It helps keep toothbrushes personal. It reduces mix-ups. This may vary. Labeling can also help. A brush with clear labeling can be easy to recognize at a glance. But labeling can fade over time. This may vary. So placement becomes the steady sign. The brush learns its place in the home again. The old brush often lingers briefly. It might stay on the counter for a day. It might sit near the sink while the new brush begins. This may vary. Sometimes it is set aside immediately. Sometimes it is kept as a backup for travel. This may vary. Sometimes it is moved to a drawer. Sometimes it is moved to a cleaning kit. Sometimes it is thrown away during cleaning day. This may vary. The routine continues right away. The new brush is picked up. It is moved in small repeated strokes, usually angled toward the gum line. It is rinsed under water. It is lightly shaken. then set down to dry. The sink area looks almost the same. The holder looks almost the same. The daily motion repeats. Only the feel in the hand changes slightly. Firm again, tidy again, new again. A new one arrives, the routine continues, the old one moves on. Replace, reset, begin again. The same small motion returns, calm and steady. Recap. A new one arrives, the routine continues, the old one moves on. Chapter 28. Reuse life and becoming a different tool. Sometimes the old toothbrush does not leave right away. Instead, it changes role. It becomes a different brush, used in different places. It becomes less personal. Less about teeth. More about small corners and edges. One of the first steps in reuse is labeling it in the mind as not for teeth. That mental labeling matters. It keeps the old brush from returning to the mouth by accident. This may vary. Some people also store it in a different place so it cannot be mixed with active toothbrushes. A utility drawer, a cleaning kit, a cabinet corner. This may vary. The goal is simple separation. As a cleaning tool, the toothbrush can reach into small spaces. Corners, seams, edges. Places where a larger cloth cannot reach as easily. The bristles become useful in a new way. Not for plaque on teeth, but for residue in small grooves. This may vary. The bristles can scrub around seam lines on objects. They can move through texture zones. They can reach narrow angles. And because the bristles are already worn, they may feel less stiff. This may vary. In reuse, the toothbrush picks up household residues. It may pick up soap residue, grime, or other buildup. This may vary. It may become stained more quickly. Staining signals age and buildup. This may vary. Odor may also change depending on what it cleans. This may vary. The brush is no longer meant to be clean enough for the mouth, so it becomes a general tool, used where small bristles are helpful, until it wears out completely. Wear can happen faster in rough tasks. Scrubbing hard surfaces can push bristles into new splay. It can fray bristle ends faster. This may vary. The head can become less tidy. The bristle field can spread. Tufts can loosen. This may vary. The handle can also show more scratches and marks. A gloss finish may show water spots and scratches more clearly. A matte finish may look duller. This may vary. These changes are expected in reuse, because the brush is no longer protected by a careful routine. Eventually, the reused brush reaches final disposal. It becomes too worn, too splayed, too frayed, or too dirty to be useful. This may vary. And then it leaves quietly. No longer part of any routine. Just a small object that has finished its work in two different roles. Recap. It becomes a different brush, used in different places. Chapter 29. Quiet disappearance and end of life. Most toothbrushes leave quietly. They are discarded during a regular cleanup. Without attention. Without ceremony. The holder has a small empty space for a moment. Then another toothbrush fills it. And the sink area looks the same again. Disposal can be simple. A toothbrush is thrown away during bathroom cleaning day. It is wrapped in tissue or placed in the bin. This may vary. Then it is gone. The routine continues with the next brush. And the old brush becomes only a memory of small repeated motions. Recycling is not always straightforward. Many toothbrushes are mixed materials. A handle and bristles, sometimes multiple plastics or grip materials. This may vary. Some recycling systems may not accept them easily. This may vary. Some places may have specialty programs. This may vary. Some people do not have access to those programs. This may vary. So the most common outcome is still quiet disposal. Electric toothbrush variants can have different disposal needs. This may vary. Powered parts can be treated differently in some regions. This may vary. But even then, the daily bathroom routine usually continues. The powered brush head may still be replaced on a cycle. This may vary. And the sink area still holds a toothbrush in some form. Held in one hand, used in repeated motions, then rinsed and stored. Even manual toothbrushes can leave in more than one way. Some are discarded immediately when replaced. Some are demoted to cleaning tool use first. This may vary. Some sit on the counter for a day or two, then disappear into a drawer, then disappear again into a bin. This may vary. It is not a dramatic story. It is a quiet fading out. A small object exiting the home in the simplest way. The routine remains. A toothbrush still lives near the sink. It is still picked up, used briefly, rinsed, shaken off, and left to dry. The bathroom geography does not change. The cup or holder remains. The space near water remains. And the motion repeats. Replace, reset, begin again. Recap. It leaves quietly, and the routine remains. Chapter 30, a slow closing loop across months. The toothbrush follows a simple cycle. It is used briefly, then rinsed under water, then shaken off, then left to dry. That is the daily loop. Use, rinse, dry. Use, rinse, dry. The same small motion, repeated calmly. Across many repeats, small changes appear. It dries, it waits, it wears a little. A small change, then another small change. Bristles bend and return. Then bend and return less fully. Splay appears. Fray appears. Staining may appear. This may vary. Odor may appear when drying is slow. This may vary. Warp may appear in handle or head alignment. This may vary. Seam lines may collect residue if not smooth. This may vary. And all of it happens quietly, with no sudden moment. Storage keeps shaping the in-between hours. Air dry supports drying. Drawer storage slows it. Cup storage can collect pooled water at the base if not drained. This may vary. Travel caps can trap moisture when closed too soon. This may vary. Shared holders can lead to bristle touching and cross-contamination. This may vary. These are small conditions, not big events. They shape how simple the brush stays between uses. Then replacement comes. Sometimes guided by a replacement cycle. Often around 3 to 4 months for daily use manual toothbrushes. Shorter with heavy wear or illness. This may vary. Sometimes guided by what is seen and felt. Persistent splay, rough bristle feel, loose tufts, cracks near the neck, odor that remains after cleaning. This may vary. And the decision is calm. A new brush is opened. The old brush is set aside. The holder looks almost the same. The sink area looks almost the same. and the loop begins again. Replace, reset, begin again. Newness returns, firmness returns, tidy bristles return. Then the slow change begins again. It dries, it waits, it wears a little, and then it is replaced. A calm cycle across months. A quiet household rhythm that continues without effort. We can end by returning to the simplest line. It is used briefly, then rinsed, then stored. It dries, it waits, it wears a little, and then it is replaced. Recap. It dries, it waits, it wears a little, and then it is replaced.